Number one, the mouth. And we said in the mouth we use our teeth and our tongue. And then patent throughout there are salivary glands. Which we're going to talk a lot about the salivary glands, what they do. A lot of enzymes. An enzyme, anyone know what an enzyme does? Shelby? Nope. Breaks down things. Enzymes break things down. So your salivary glands are going to excrete enzymes that will break things down. So we'll talk about some of those main enzymes that are in your salivary glands or that are released from the salivary glands. Other things involved in our digestive system. So from the salivary glands, we're going to travel to the esophagus. From the esophagus, we're going to go where? Shelby?
Stomach.
Okay. Stomach. And then where? Good. The small intestine. Now, to be clear, the small intestine and the large intestine have some specific areas of it, okay? So words like duodenum, your cecum, your colon, okay? We're not necessarily going to, I'm not going to require that you know those individual parts, but we will reference them and talk about them, and it is something that I would want you to have on your body diagrams, okay? So we'll get into that a little bit more on Monday for the digestive system, but as far as you guys are concerned right now, knowing that the stomach travels into the small intestine, which then travels where? Yeah. I mean, stuff starts to get broken off, too, to some other organs here, but primary track would be to the large intestine. And so some of the places that things are going to get, from starting about the stomach on down, other things are going to be excreted and travel to places like your liver and pancreas. So the liver and pancreas are all going to be considered a part of the digestive system. The last location that is usually identified as the end to the digestive system, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but where do you guys think is the last organ that the digestive tract ends at? Shelby?
Gallbladder.
No. I hope it wouldn't end in the gallbladder. I'd hope it come out of you somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
The toilet. I don't know.
The toilet is not part of my digestive system. I'm thankful to have a toilet, but not part of my digestive system. Yeah. It's called your rectum, but that's technically a portion of your large intestine. So kind of one of my biggest pet peeves is often when you're reading about the digestive tract, or even if you look at like websites to learn about it, they'll say large intestines and then rectum. But the large intestine's last portion of it is your rectum. So I'm going to put it as a kind of a dash and underneath here, because you do need to know the name of where it's exiting your body. But your large intestine actually has a portion that's termed the rectum. All of the individual organs listed up here together, when you consolidate those all together, it's called what? It's an organ system. Specifically, it's our digestive system. Okay, so lots of different functions for each organ, lots of different purposes, but all together, they're going to comprise one of our human body systems, the digestive system. Okay, so if we're talking about functions, we're going to have a couple main ones, but functions of the digestive system. break down food. Okay? Anytime you hear the word digest, you're pretty much going to want to think break down. A couple other things that the digestive system does. It's really, really critical. And if you think about those 4 needs of living things, one of the needs is food, right? So we're talking about that, breaking down food. Another need that our digestive system is used for is what, Shelby?
Energy.
Well, that would be a characteristic, right? Use energy is a characteristic of living things. And to break down food is the process where energy can be released. We talked about that last year. But think about the needs. What are our needs? We have food, water,
And space.
living space,
Oh.
and then
Reactive.
those are characteristics. Stable internal conditions. So we've talked about how our digestive system can break down food, but the other thing it's going to do is it's going to absorb nutrients. Typically, that's going to be in the form of water, right? One of our major requirements, water. So functions, break down food, absorb nutrients. And then the last really important overall function. What comes in has to come out, right? We can't just keep putting food in and not have it come out of us in some way. So the stuff that's left over, what's a good word for anything that's left over? It's things that you didn't use. So what would we call that?
Waste.
Jacob. Yep, good. So then it's going to remove waste. What do you guys think? When you look at your diagram, what are some of the things you can start to label? Let's start at this table. What's one thing that you guys can label on that diagram? Okay, where's it at? Yeah, this long pipe, right, would be the esophagus. Franny, next part.
Your mouth is at the very top.
Okay, good. So obvious. I mean, it's obvious to us, but the mouth at the very top. Probably the thing that students forget the most when they're talking about the digestive system, because we often think, oh yeah, our esophagus, stomach, intestines, but we forget that our mouth is a really critical part. It plays a critical role in breaking down food. Let's go back to this table, you guys. Let's label another one.
Liver.
Say it louder.
Liver.
Where's it at?
Above your stomach.
Yeah, so this piece right here, okay, that's our liver. And I'm going to kind of circle it because students often flip this. The liver's pretty large. It's larger than most people think. And so a lot of times when you start looking at specimens, often people will think the liver is the stomach when it's not. Now, one big difference is the stomach is a big cavity, so it's kind of like a balloon in a sense, whereas the liver is full of tissue. So when you touch them, the liver is a lot denser. It has a lot more to it, whereas the stomach would kind of be like a deflated balloon, depending on how full it is. Okay, so Malaya's group, you guys identify another one for us? Okay, so up towards the mouth, on the sides here, you're going to have your glands, your salivary glands. Actually, there's a lot of glands up here, but we're just going to focus on salivary glands for now. And I'm going to finish identifying these parts real quick because we're running out of time, but it's still something you need to know for Tuesday on the quiz is the identification of these different parts. So we have our mouth, we have our salivary glands, we have the esophagus and the liver, your stomach. Your small intestines is actually in the center here. with your large intestines wrapping around the outside of it. Whoops. Sorry about that. Intestines. The rectum, which is, again, a part of the large intestine, but the way that we can actually excrete that waste. And then the pancreas is going to be located kind of down towards the bottom side of the stomach. You don't see it on the diagram that's presented, but I drew like a little spot right here towards the bottom side of the stomach, and you can label that as the pancreas. And then those are going to be the main parts that you would need to know for that organ system.